I'm N.S.Lavanya, Assistant Professor, Department of English, KCS Kasinadar College of Arts and Science. In this video, let's see the summary of Third Sally of Don Quixote. Third Sally and second part. Although the two parts are now published as a single work, Don Quixote Part 2 was a sequel published 10 years after the original novel. While Part 1 was mostly farcical, the second half is more serious and philosophical about the theme of deception. Part 2 of Don Quixote explores the concept of a character, understanding that he is written about an idea much explored in the 20th century. As Part 2 begins, it is assumed that the literate classes of Spain have all read the first part of the story. Cervantes' metafictional device was to make even the characters in the story familiar with the publication of the Part 1, as well as with an actually published fraudulent Part 2. Third Sally. When strangers encounter the duo in person, they already know the famous history. A duke and duchess and others deceive Don Quixote for entertainment, setting forth a string of imagined adventures resulting in a series of practical jokes. Some of them put Don Quixote's sense of chivalry and his devotion to Dulcinea through many tests. Pressed into finding Dulcinea, Sancho brings back 3 ragged peasant girls and tells Don Quixote that they are Dulcinea and her ladies in waiting. When Don Quixote only sees the peasant girls, Sancho pretends that their derelict appearance results from an enchantment, which is reversing some instance of Part 1. Sancho later gets his comeuppance for this when, as part of one of the Duke and Duchess pranks, the two are led to believe that the only method to release Dulcinea from her spell is for Sancho to give himself 3,300 lashes. Sancho naturally resists this course of action, leading to friction with his master. Under the Duke's patronage, Sancho eventually gets a governorship, though it is false, and proves to be a wise and practical ruler, although this ends in humiliation as well. Near the end, Don Quixote reluctantly sways towards sanity. The lengthy, untold history of Don Quixote's adventures in knight-errantry comes to a close after his battle with the Knight of the White Moon. The young man from Don Quixote's hometown, who had previously posed as the Knight of Mirrors on the beach in Barcelona, in which the reader finds him conquered. Bound by the rules of chivalry, Don Quixote submits to pre-arranged terms that the vanquished is to obey the will of the conqueror. Here, it is that Don Quixote is to lay down his arms and cease his acts of chivalry for the period of 1 year. He and Sancho undergo one more prank by the Duke and Duchess before setting off. Upon returning to his village, Don Quixote announces his plan to retire to the countryside as a shepherd, but his housekeeper urges him to stay at home. Soon after, he retires to his bed with a deathly illness and later awakes from a dream, having fully recovered his insanity. Sancho tries to restore his faith, but Quixote only renounces his previous ambition and apologizes for the harm he has caused. He dictates his will, which includes a provision that his niece will be disinherited if she marries a man who reads books of chivalry. After also Quixote dies, the author emphasizes that there are no more adventures to relate, and that any further books about him would be spurious. Now, symbols. Books and manuscripts. The books and manuscripts that appear everywhere in Don Quixote symbolize the importance and influence of fiction and literature in everyday life. The books instruct and inform the ignorant and provide an imaginative outlet for characters with otherwise dull lives. Horses symbolize movement and status in the novel and often denote a character's worth or class. The pilgrims outside Barcelona, for instance, walk to the city. The noblemen ride in carriages and the robbers and Don Quixote ride on horseback. In Don Quixote's mind, at least, the appearance of horses on the horizon symbolizes the coming of a new adventure. Indeed, Rocinante and Dapple play an important role in the journeys of Don Quixote and Sancho. They are not only means of transport and symbols of status, but also companions to their lives. Inns that appear throughout the novel are meeting places for people of all classes. They are the only locations in the novel where ordinarily segregated individuals speak and exchange stories. Inns symbolize rest and food, but also corruption and greed, since many innkeepers in the novel are devious. Sancho often longs to stay at an inn rather than follow Don Quixote's chivalric desire to sleep under the stars. These opposing preferences show Sancho's connection with reality and society and his instinctive desire for comfort, in contrast to Don Quixote's alienation from society and its norms. Even when he does stay at inns, Don Quixote is noticeably alienated from the major events that take place there, such as reunification of the four lovers in the first part. Thus, we come to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. We meet again in the next video with another interesting topic.